Hi everyone, I've been asked to make this short video on how to make a transparent dress for wearing in Utherverse, because a lot of people have a problem with getting the transparency just right. This is actually a problem with the meshes, it's not anything you're doing, so let's start. So first of all, now I use GIMP for all of my designing, but these instructions will work just as well as Photoshop or anything else. So what we want to do first is open up our designer kit. Now mine is actually on an external hard drive, but yours will be wherever you downloaded it to. So you want to open up your designer kit legacy client, UV maps. Now we're starting from scratch here, so scroll down for first of all the upper body nude and open that. Now I also like to scale down my images because I find that GIMP can't handle it at the 2048, so I tend to scale mine down to 1024, and I find that works much better and GIMP can handle it. I don't know about Photoshop because I've never used it. So as you can see here, we've got our mesh. Now again, what I like to do is I like to lower the opacity of that, especially if I'm working with black, because then I can see what I'm actually doing. So I've lowered the opacity, and now what I want to do is add a new layer. You can see over here I've added it just by clicking that little icon. And here what we'll do is we'll just bring down some alignment lines. I like to use these because I find it lines it up nicely for me. So first of all, I'm just going to grab my rectangle select tool. As I say, this is just a quick short video just to show you how to do this. Now once I've done that, I go over to my bucket fill tool. As you can see, I'm on black and I just go like so. Then I grab my free select tool, zoom in a bit, and we'll just take that maybe from there up to there. Now I find the easiest way to do this is do like so, then go over, add a new layer, and then bucket fill that. And then what you want to do is just duplicate this by clicking that icon there, and then you go over to layers and transform, flip horizontally, and using your little move tool, just click on that and move this over. And I found this is much easier because it means you've then got the whole thing kind of evened out and equal. So just bring that over till it's like so. Yep. Maybe over just, if you can't see it, just bring it down and move this over a bit. No, I don't know why that did that, but never mind. But I can just cheat and use my brush tool. You find there's many ways you can fix things. If you just got a little error or something. I mean, all I'm wanting to do is just get this basic outline so that you can see how to do the transparency in that. Right, so we've done that, so we'll just merge all that down, and then we add a new layer, and we go back over here, and this time we're doing the back. And again, I just use a rectangle select tool because any cutting out or that I want to do, I do afterwards. And the reason for going on another layer is because you're going to find that when you test this, it won't be lined up correctly, and you just got to play about with it. Right, so we're just going to export this. Export as, and it's going on desktop because that's what I like to keep them. So I'll just put in black. Test for now. I'll just put 1. Desktop. Export. Okay. Now the reason it came up with that message is because I haven't actually given it a file name, so I need to go down here and put select file and find the PNG image. There it is. And export it. Now it'll export fine. So then what you do is go over to your create outfit. This is in your my outfits, new style, female, torso. Now I'm just going to do this on a skinny top because I'm using the nude mesh. You always use the skinny top decals, etc. and layers when you're doing a skinny top. Now I want to be Here we go. Upload texture. Now I'm going to add all of these before I do anything else. Now you can see just there that I need to lower that just a little bit, but the top looks pretty good. Yeah. Right, so all I do is bring up my mesh again, go into my move tool, and then just using your directional keys, arrow keys on your keyboard. Hang on, we'll get rid of that before. Making sure I'm on the right layer. Just move that down a bit. Make sure you take away your mesh, export as. Then we'll just open it. Yep, it's looking a bit better. Just down a little bit more. It's all trial and error and testing. And I test every piece that I upload. Every single piece in every stage I test it. That way I know I'm getting it right, and any corrections I need to make, I can make them immediately before I do anything more with the outfit or piece. I find it saves me an awful lot of time. And let's have a look. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much okay there. Right, so we'll leave that piece for now. Now we want to go in and file open, and again we're in the designer kit. This time, because we're doing the midline, and by the way, the midline isn't the problem, because the midline you always make on the lower nude mesh, so you'll never have a problem with that with the transparency. Your actual problem is with the skirt meshes and such like, because they're fine at the front. You don't see any holes or where you can see through your avatar, but at the back there's like a gaping hole, and this is where you need to either add a fairly solid texture or a quite compact lace texture, or even add a belt. That's where you find that most designers do. They tend to add belts and such like to a full dress and that. And that is the problem. It's not the actual lower body mesh, it's the skirt mesh. So now I want to do a lower body nude. So again, I'm going to open that. And again, I want to scale this image down 1024. You can even do it in 512, whichever you feel comfortable with. Bring the zoom up to 50, and again go over and just lower the opacity. Now we want to do like a midline, which you usually take about there. And again, I just use my rectangle select for this. And then we just bring it up. And then the bucket fill tool is black again. Oh, no, sorry, I messed up there. Undo that. I didn't add another layer. Silly, silly, silly. Now, there we go. And I just want to save this file, export as. Go back to my desktop, and I look for the black test 1, and I'll just call this black test 2. Desktop, export, export. Right, now let's go see how this looks on her. Right, so this time you want to go into legs, and I'll be using a short skirt, so I'll use that. And for the midline, we just use the skin clothing. When you're doing the actual skirt itself, you use skin clothing. But for the midline, it is the skin clothing there. Okay, you've got skin in the layer, and decal is clothing. And we just want to go add the texture. As you can see, at the moment I'm just using all the solid textures. I'll show you the transparency shortly. But I just want to get the dress looking right first, and I always do all the basic work first. Right, that. Now we want to go into the find the short skirt. So, oh, wrong one. Right, so UV maps, and here we'll find each lower body short skirt. And again, we want to lower the image size. Always make sure that your image sizes are all the same. Saves you a lot of grief and hassle later on. Right, that's fine. Bring that back up to 50. Lower the opacity. Add a new layer. And then another thing I like to do is I always like to bring, well, you must, otherwise you'll get holes in all your outfits, is make sure you're actually working outside the meshes on any edging. Now, as I don't want this short skirt to be too long, I'm bringing it up to about there. And I like working with a short skirt mesh because it gives you much more. You can add different decals and motifs and all that come below the hemline. So I like to use short skirt mesh, but it's totally up to you depending on what you want to do. Now we save that. Again, export as, find my desktop, black test, so that'll be black test number 3. Desktop, export. Right, so female, and again it's legs, short skirt, and here's where you want the clothing and the layers, and you can see the decal disappears completely. You want to add the texture, upload. Right, so test this now, publish, and test. See how she looks? Yep, there we go. We've got a pretty little black dress right there. Just very basic. Now we want to lower the transparency. So, hang on a second. She's not standing quite right there. So, what we do is we go back to these, making sure that we've got no running ads. We can actually merge all these down now because we're finished with them. So now we want to lower the transparency. So I'll take it down to about half. Say 54.1 up here in the opacity. Now if you're working with Photoshop, it's the same idea. Then we'll just export, and we want the same opacity for all of these. So to remove these running ants, just click on your rectangle select tool and get rid of that, and then we bring the opacity again, oh, well done, down to 54.1, sorry, and again export. And the same with the skirt, we want to get rid of these running ants, so and bring the opacity down to 54 or 54, it's close enough, and export. Now you will see where we have a problem in a minute, but it's easy, it's very easy to fix. Now when I'm making a pretty dress and I don't want to use a belt, what I tend to do is I use like a rib texture or a lace texture or something like that. Totally up to yourselves. Or just make a pretty belt. Right, so black test, open, replace. And what we're doing now is we're just replacing all these with the transparent texture. Go. Right, publish, test. Right, now you can see how we have a problem right there. You are seeing right through her basically. See at the back there where my arrow is, my cursor is? See, we have this problem. This here is the midline. This isn't a problem at all. This is your torso top here, down to about the belly button. And then this piece here is your midline. It's the skirt mesh that causes the problems with the avatars where it can be seen right through. This here is okay because that looks okay because the skirt is actually transparent round the legs. But it is always just this section here, but it's very easy to get around. All we do is we go into our mesh, open that up, add a new layer, and we'll just leave it as black again. But this time what you want to do is first of all zoom in and grab your alignment tools and bring them just down, just above the line there. come down to 100 so you can see what you're doing here. And again, now if you just draw like a basic straight line right across, what's going to happen is the belt's going to be, or the insert piece is going to be much wider at the back and very thin at the front. Now you don't want that, you want them matching up completely. So what I do is, let's say I grab my alignment tools and I bring one down to about there, and you will see what I'm doing in a minute, and then another one, so I have like 3 alignment tools. I go and I grab my free select brush, sorry I couldn't remember what it was there, and then we just go right along here, but then what you want to do is just zoom out for a second, and as you can see this piece here is the center. This piece here is the center of the skirt, so we want to be about half and half. So that should be about right. And then zoom up again so that you can see what you're doing. And you want to take it back up to this third line here. And as you can see, I now have like, it's thicker at the front and much thinner at the back, and you will see what I'm doing in a minute. And then just bucket fill it, remove your mesh, just leave your running ants for now because we may have to play about with this. And then, now this idea works on the long skirts, if you're making something transparent, and the mini skirts. It works on all the skirt meshes. But like I say, it's the skirt mesh that you have the problem with. It's not your avatar, it's not your nude meshes, because they work perfectly for transparency. It is the skirt meshes. And it's not likely to be something that's going to be fixed, so you just have to literally work around it. There we go. And you can see I maybe need to just make that belt a bit deeper. That is very easy to do. All I do is I get rid of those running ants, grab my mesh layer first, grab my scale tool, move it over so you can see what we're doing. Make sure these are unlocked, and the height, I just bring it down a bit. And then all I do is just move tool and using my keyboard selection keys, bring that down like so. Test. Now we still have a problem, as you can see there. So again, you just keep working with it until you've got it looking the way you want. So scale again, give it more height, then just move it back up. I like to use the keys when I'm moving anything up like this, because then I find that it doesn't go off center on me. In other words, it moves it where I want it to move it. Now you can see I've got a wee problem there. Now that will work, because if you add underwear or such like, yep, that will work. But as you can see there, you can see I've just got a little bit of a line there. So I want to do, I just cheat again, zoom up to 200, and I just grab one of my brushes, scale it down a bit, and then just carefully paint that out. And I always start with my basic layers and work on them first till I know I've got them all lined up and in the correct spacing, correct spots, etc. And then I start adding all my detail. And that is basically how you get round the gaping hole in your waistline when you're trying to do a transparent dress. There is basically no other way of doing it. You cannot just have a fully transparent dress. It's a virtual impossibility because of the meshes that RLC have left us with. Not a lot we can do with it. But this looks quite good, and like I say, you can make a belt of this, or if you were to make the midline solid, you could like add a rib texture, a lace texture or something, just to add it like an insert. The possibilities are endless. It's just your own imagination. So that is how you get round RLC's meshes and its foibles. Okay, right, bye for now.